What are the trends, factors, keywords influencing olders and their lifestyle decisions? There are many olders, agers that are coming online or coming into the community, arriving in places where they never thought that they would ever be. And what is it that we can learn together to be able to enliven our aging time? What I want to do today is to share some important thoughts around lifestyle decisions, the trend awareness, of which there's five, some key factors to illustrate these trends, the importance of keywords for doing searches, navigating the information that you are gathering so that you can figure out what's relevant to you, your personal relevance, that you connect with it. And I have some of my own stories and tools that I'm going to share with you to see if they're of value. And then I have a call to action at the end. Now, what's happening here is there is a story unfolding about younger, older, elder. And it's a story of aging with agers. Now, I gave this term younger, older, elder as a way for me to make some sense of this unfolding aging story in my life. And thus, I want to share it with you because I think it's a great way to understand and position this time of living called older, where at some point in time, as a younger, you define yourself as an older, and as an older interacting with your communities, those communities will give you, in recognition and celebration, the term elder. Now, to unfold this in such a way that it makes sense, I'm going to highlight the concept of aging confidently. And while working with us, that is what I'm asking you to think about, this contribution from confidence, that self assuredness. And that's going to come from understanding and valuing the trends, the factors, the keywords that are going to guide you in making these older lifestyle decisions. Now, there's another aspect of this story which is worth looking at, and that is they talk about, okay, how do you um, bring understanding to aging from a demographics point of view, a psychographics point of view, a geographics point of view. And I go, well, that's great, but it may not make sense for this presentation. So, what I wanted to do is to just very simply say, from an aging ager's perspective, there's three agers that are out there that I certainly interact with. One of them in a primary, secondary role, another in a secondary, another in a tertiary. So this idea of solo agers, solo aging, in other words, aging without partners or family around. I'm a solo ager, and I get it. I live that life by decision, and I'm enjoying it immensely. It gives me an opportunity to go a lot of places, do a lot of different things on my schedules and in my way. So it's great. Then there are the grand agers, grand aging, called grandparents, and they are aware of the grandchildren and they have family around them. But there's this leaning into the grandchildren and their interaction with the grandchildren. And there are partner agers who have a spouse, a significant other that's with them, traveling with them, doing things called living a life. Now, the solo agers is what I lean into. Next comes the grand agers, and then I'll talk and interact with the partner agers. Now, that's just simply because I, from personal experience, can lean into solo agers and figure out what's going on there. Now, there's another aspect of this that From a programming point of view, I think it would be worth sharing about what I do through the wealth movement. This is the company that I have. It's the one that is the sponsoring of this, doing the administrative support of this program called Younger, Older, Elder. And therefore, the solo aging, grand aging, partner aging is this aging confidently. And I have the priorities of how I interact with them, and which one are you? Are you a solo ager, a grand ager, a partner ager? Maybe there's a fourth title I haven't figured out yet. You can always let me know. And what we're doing is, I want them all to be able to have a sense of felt safety as they deal with the evidence, education, and experience of living their extraordinary life, living their hale and hearty life, and doing it from the perspective of wealth movement, from a well-being, well-living. That's what wealth is about. And also the movement, the physical movement, and also from a contributions point of view, what does that lead to? What's the movement that they're supporting all the way up to? There may be a local, regional, national, international social cultural movement that you want to support, and that is brought into this consideration. So this is the base programming that I get involved with and I use to support. What I'm doing though is I'm really emphasizing the older, because that is a place where 55 plus, you're looking at retirement. You might call yourselves in pre-retirement. Some of you may be going through the retirement. Some of you may be going, I'm not retiring. I'm going to do rehiring. I'm going to rehire myself. I may go entrepreneurial. There's lots of different ways in which this can unfold. But where this presentation, this video is about, is it's about your steep lifestyle decisions as an older. So you can probably pick up, I've added a word steep now. And what I'm doing with steep is I'm suggesting, if you sat down and had a good cup of tea, you let your tea steep so that when you go to drink it, you can really taste it, enjoy it. What I'm suggesting to you is, with this video, you may want to slow down a little bit and really enjoy what's happening. And with the activities that are going to unfold, the call of action that's going to take place, just slowly move through it rather than all of a sudden from here jump to the end, say, okay, great, thank you, goodbye. Steep, stay with it, have a really good cup of tea. But at the same time, I realize steep is also reference to the incline of a mountain or a hill, walking up, or the coming down, the decline on the other side. There is some steepness that you have to go into. So you may find yourself going, whoa, this is taking a little longer than I wanted. Whew, this is a little more work than I thought. But if you stay in there and remember having a good cup of tea with you, you can figure out ways in which to bring these insights that I'm going to share with you into an enlivening of your life to make your older lifestyle decisions. STEEP also is an acronym, and it's a way that I wanted to make sense of this massive amount of information that's out there. So you can think of it from the perspective of S is social cultural, T is technological, E is environmental, E is economical, P is political. And therefore, you're going to, in a sense, steep yourself in these um, trends and the factors that go with them, which is what we're going to be going into. So, steep like a good cup of tea, but know that there is some work to get up and to take care of coming down, just to bring a bit of a metaphor to what it is that we're looking at. So, what will take place here is that I'll be encouraging you to take some notes. So if you have pad and pencil, tablet around, great, because you could be making some lists as we're going through. If you have a journal, grab your journal, and maybe there's some things here that'll jog your thinking and feeling, and you may want to go and do some exploration afterwards. Go do some explore and find, discover, shape, share, whatever it is that you may want to do. Okay. Steep then is a means to look at the quick mega trend reference for aging. So those 5 areas, think of those as big trend areas. And there's lots to unpack in each of those trends. Therefore, those trends have what are called category or factors in there that reference aging questions and issues. And therefore, out of all of that, you would be making up some kind of decision, action, outcome checklist for aging as it applies to you. So decisions have to get made about what actions you want to take and the kind of outcomes you want to have unfold for you in terms of these 5 trends and the key factors that go with it. And that's what I want to really unpack for you here. Now, here is a wise piece of wisdom for you, and I'm going to read it. Learning and knowing the concepts, knowing and doing the practices. So, in today's video, it's really about learning and knowing the concepts with a little bit of the knowing and doing of the practices. I am going to shoot a second video connected to this one, which gets you into more of the practices aspect of the use of these trends and factors and keywords. So, learning, knowing the concepts, knowing and doing the practices, while caring enough to set up and strive forward again and again. As you build a foundation, plant a seedbed, ensures you see what others might miss. If you stay with us, you go through the activities I'm going to suggest to you, create your own list, write into your journal your ideas and thoughts to really come to understand what's going on here. Then you'll be able to navigate this information to make those older lifestyle decisions. To remind you, the S is the social cultural. It's about the movability. To be able to move forward, the ability to move forward, there's a lot of social cultural factors that are taken into consideration, which means is that as you tap into the technological aspects, it's about maintainability because the technology are really tools and techniques that are of value to you as you determine that are useful and helpful. There are the environmental considerations from a sustainability point of view, how you sustain your own living life with what it is that's happening around you. There is this sense of the economical, the profitability aspect. Now, I'd just like to do a little update here. Profitability in this case refers to, yes, the money aspect, the wealth aspect, but it's also about relationships and ideas that you profit from that give you the currency that really supports your self assuredness, your confidence, and being able to profit from all of that which comes around. So the economical aspect is more than the money. It's also the currency of what you do in your day to day. The next thing we'll look at would be the political, the regulations that are influencing you, not from a political party point of view or politics, but the political regulations that you live with in terms of being the best self that you can be while being mindful of the civility that's asked of you in the community in which you are living. So that means why know these trends? Why know these trends? Well, it's to make those informed decisions about your living life situation. Now, I'm going to add in legacy because that's one of the key words. So, living legacy life, that's what I really promote. Once you understand these trends, factors, and key words, it's really directed towards living a legacy life. And it's also to make your overall well being for self. Remember that wealth definition I gave, which then says your overall well living with others. So, well being for self is your unique journey. Your overall well living with others is the adventures together. And all of this is to ensure support for independent living and lifestyle until something happens where you may have to shift that into another way of being there. From a factors point of view, we talked about the trends, the bigger stories. As we look at the factors and dive into them, you want to take proactive action about your future. In other words, living tomorrow today. That's a little bit different way, is that if you think about what's going to happen to you tomorrow and bring elements of that into today, you'll be better prepared to deal with what's coming your way. And from an aging perspective, that is so, so important. And we'll make mention of this a little bit more as we get into the trends, factors, and keywords. What you also want to do is take proactive action because of knowing these factors in finding the living location based on your needs. Where you are now may not be where you will need to be able to live this independent life that you wish to have. And there's considerations there. It's also to take proactive actions because of potential challenges, mobility, weather situations, financial situations, different things that are going to be happening to you tomorrow that you have to bring into consideration today. And also to take proactive action to take advantage of the opportunities that are going to be aligned with your head, heart, and hands. Um, I hadn't thought about it, but as I am getting into my older story in my 70s, I had to start thinking a little bit more about this financial resources necessary to live the life that I determine I want to live. These lifestyle decisions as an older. And a number of issues started to pop up for me in more relevance than I had thought about before. So, some of what I'm going to share now may be able to bring this to the foreground for you. Now, here's a question for you. What trends and factors are influencing you? If you just stopped the video now and you said, from a steep perspective, social, cultural, technological, environmental, economic, and political, which of those trends are really going to influence your older lifestyle decisions? And what factors would I associate with each of those trends? Sort of doing a pre work, getting what's in your head, heart, hands down now on the paper. You could stop right now and say, let me give you 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and go do that. So if you're off going to do that, great. If not, let's continue. I recommend that you keep lists or write into your journal. Have that journal and that tablet close by. You may do the voice work into your tablet, for example, but keep them there. But the other thing to point out is that what I'm sharing with you still remains at a high level review, because each of you who's listening into this video, you're on a unique journey, and therefore different trends and factors and keywords will share, stimulate, influence your story, your contributions, your projects. But also, if you bring some of your unique journeys, in other words, start interacting with others and adventure together, then you might find some allies out there that can really help you Now, let's start with the S from a social cultural factor. The format that I'm setting up is I'm just going to introduce like 5 core ideas to you. But again, you can stop the video and read them because they're in a little bit different font size. And then I'll set up what's on the next 2 pages. So I'm not going to stay in depth on every page. This is where I would encourage you to come back and stop the video and read what's here with your journal tablet and creating your list, journaling your thoughts and feelings. So you can think of what's going to happen here over the next number of slides, 3 times 5, about 15 slides. You can come back and use them as a resource to be able to jog your thoughts, to influence you, to prompt you to think of different ideas and insights, or what investigations, interpretations, inquiries do they get you to go into to do a little bit more work. So, for example, from a social cultural factors point of view, there's the attitudes towards aging, family structures, a little bit different for solo agers, community resources to support you, the shifting longevity requirements, we're living longer, the shifting views on living arrangements. There's different kinds of arrangements. We're talking about starting with that independent, as time goes along, that will shift for you. So what I did then is I said, okay, what would be some of the social cultural keywords associated with what I just presented? So I just took out all the other ands and other words that would fill out a sentence and just said, here's some social cultural keywords that you could use to do a deeper review. And then what I did is I went to one of my keyword generators and I put in social cultural keywords. And this is what it gave up to me. And so, again, you can take one or more of these, put them into a search bar, and see what comes out. An alternative is if you understand AI and have an AI writer that can do some search word for you, writing paragraphs, writing lists, then use one of these keywords and keyword phrases and put it in there and see what happens for you. So, looking at it from a technological factors point of view, there's communication tools that are available to you, telehealth services, smart home technology, digital social media accessing which ones, robotics. There's a lot of interesting things happening in that area. So again, the keywords from that area that I just shared with you, and the technological keywords, these more robust keyword phrases that you can use. Looking at the environmental factors, there's this sense of accessibility in your own home and in your neighborhood, the safety of the location where you're living in your own home as well, the climate that you are involved with, which can bring out the notion of weather events, the proximity to nature and how important nature is in your life, the idea of housing options for you, the environmental keywords that I pulled out of that which I've just shared. Again, the deeper keyword phrases you can use. Let's look at it from an economical point of view. There is topics like retirement savings. Put enough away? If not, what does that mean? Healthcare costs, government benefits that are available that sometimes we don't do enough digging, they're there. The cost of living, up, down, that may vary by location you're in. Are you into rehirement? Maybe becoming an entrepreneur, things like that, which then says, what are some of the keywords associated with what I just presented? And the deeper ones that you can look into. Now there is the political factors, more from a regulations point of view. So Social Security and Medicare. Medicare, there may be other names depending on which country you're in. The housing regulations that are put in place for you and from an aging perspective. The elder care support that is available to you. The healthcare legislation that influences at home or what you have to do, what you can access, and laws related to aging in terms of setting up even retirement savings plans. There are laws that are associated with that. Again, here's some of the keywords from the first page and deeper keyword phrases that are available to you. So, have you been keeping track, some trend factor lists for yourself? If you haven't, I'd encourage you to go back and look at those previous slides and come up with some lists. And you could do it by each of the trends and then look at the factors. Look at the key words as well, because there are ideas there that you can sort out into lists. If you know how to do mind mapping and sorting it out visually, then do that as well. Take out a blank piece of paper and start drawing the different connections. I'm a visual learner, so I tend to do a lot of it in mind maps versus creating lists. For me, to create lists, I do writing. So I write articles, and that's how I do the list rather than just the list, the checklist. I do a lot of mind mapping because then I can do different layers of mind mapping to be able to see what's going on and using color coding and prioritization of the ideas that are there. And so we're getting to a point where I thought I would share something that I did that really helped me wrap my head around all of this trends and factors and keywords. And I did it by creating what I call personas. In the marketing world, they talk about your ideal client, your avatar. And I sort of took that, did a little variation and said, what would be the personas that I could take up to help myself, or I can invite in to give me assistance around all of this lifestyle decisions I'm going to make as an older, but also from a progression point of view, who might I ask to get involved? Because as I move from my 70s into my 80s into my 90s, things will shift. I'll have to make adjustments, course corrections. I'll have to have some fun looking at these trends and factors and these keyword phrases. And so, what I then did, I said, okay, how would I draw this up? And these 9 ager personas came to the foreground. And it starts in the Ager Explorer and goes up to Action Master in this way. So if I'm an ager explorer, I can certainly do that. But if I get together with some friends, we can be ager explorers and help each other. But whatever happens, I still have to be a priority selector. But I may want to work with someone. You could get a mentor. You could get some people may say, "Oh, I'll get a coach help me." I think a mentor might be a little better than a coach in this situation. Personal bias. Then there's the story reviewer, because as you bring the priority together, you're going to start creating a story, which then leads you into resource assigner, which is resources. What of my time, effort, and money? How am I going to assign this? Then there's a tech helper. Now, this is where you may get involved with some others who can help you out from a tech point of view. You may not be able to get to know it all, so the tech helper would be there. The Enviro Sustainer, there is ways that you can do it, like the renew, review, recycle, those kind of connections. But you could tap into what are other persons doing around regeneration and rewilding, terms like that, nature inspired work. You could look at it through that. Then there's the wellness weaver. You could do your own, but again, this is where you may want to get some friends together and be able to talk about wellness weaving, about the well being and the well living. And then there's the social architect. How do you bring together others so that you don't get into places where you might find yourself feeling isolated or lonely or without friends? Um, you want to have some social connections, some community around you. And how might you do that? Now, you could do it in person, you could do it online. There's different ways in which to do the social architect. And the social architect can bring all the others together, which then means is that as an action master, you've got to stay on top of the actions of the decisions you make, the actions you framed up to get the outcomes that you want. You're going to have to master making sure that you set that up and you stride forward so that you don't miss anything. Because where most people fall flat is they don't do the action master work. They may set up the rest, and then you go, well, it'll just unfold the way it does. Oh, it's not how it goes. So give that some really good attention and intention. So this was a way that I helped myself sort it out. I sort of share it here with you because you might find it of value. Again, shift the names. But here's a little treat for you. If you look at it, a little looks a little bit like a tic-tac-toe game. You could play a game of tic-tac-toe here and its different variations. Also, if you look at it from a lines, vertical, horizontal, it's a hashtag. It reminds you of the hashtags that could go in each of those quadrants. I'm just sharing with you, have a little bit of fun. Now, if I can be of assistance to you, you can comment below, comment somewhere around, or comment on the wealthmovement.com/contact. Do you want some one-to-one support? That's what I know I can offer. Currently, I'm attempting to figure out, and that's one of the questions I have for you. Would you attend a course? Would that be of help to learn about this and put it into action? And you can watch the second video I'll be putting out more about the actions that you can take. I've suggested some here, like lists or mind mapping or using the persona and tic-tac-toe or hashtag. I have a request of you, having watched this. I request that you watch more videos. That would be of great help to me because the watch hours, but also it's a great help to you is you could figure out what videos that have been shot in the last couple of months that would be of value of you. I have quite an array of videos because I've been on YouTube for quite a few years now, but this shifting into this older story, this younger, older, elder story, and aging, I really have put more effort into it in the last couple of months. So if you go back into the last couple of months' videos, there are other ones to watch. And I would encourage you, there's a lot of great shorts that you can watch as well. And they are less than a minute and they prompt you with really quick ideas. And again, you could take your lists, your mind maps, you could go watch those shorts and they might prompt you to think about something else as well. And there's the always present comment and share and subscribe. That would be great as well. So, what I was attempting to do here was to get you to think about STEEP, the social, cultural, technological, environmental, economic, and political, but do it from a slowing down, steep yourself a cup of tea, enjoy learning about them, and figure out okay, what do I have to climb to learn? How do I use it coming down the other side? And as an older, making my lifestyle decisions. So, with that, again, if I can be of assistance, let me know. Take care.